He found the messages on a Tuesday. Seo-jun wasn't even looking for anything. He had picked up Amara's phone simply to turn off her alarm because she was in the shower and the sound was drilling into his skull. That was all. That was supposed to be all. But the screen lit up, and a name appeared, and the preview of the message sat right there beneath it like a small, quiet bomb. Last night was everything. Can't stop thinking about you. Seo-jun stood in the middle of their bedroom with wet footprints from his own shower still drying on the floor, and he read that message 4 times. 4 times. Like maybe the words would rearrange themselves into something that made sense. Something innocent. Something that could be explained away with a laugh and a hand on his chest and Amara saying, "Oh, that's just my cousin being dramatic." But her cousin's name was not Marcus. He put the phone down on the nightstand very carefully. He sat on the edge of the bed. He could hear the shower still running, hear her humming something low and sweet in there, the way she always did, the way he used to stand outside the bathroom door just to listen because it made him feel like the world was a soft and manageable place. He sat there until the water stopped. Amara came out with a towel wrapped around her hair and her skin still glowing, and she smiled when she saw him. That smile. God, that smile had unraveled him the first time he saw it, 3 years ago in the produce section of a grocery store when she had reached past him for a mango and said, "Excuse me, sorry, the good ones are always in the back." He had laughed. She had laughed. They had stood in that aisle talking for 40 minutes about nothing and everything until a store employee had gently asked them to move because they were blocking the display. 3 years. 1,200 days. Give or take. "You're quiet," Amara said, reaching for her lotion. "Marcus texted you," Seo-jun said. The lotion bottle made a small sound as it hit the dresser. Not a crash. Just a soft, telling sound. The sound of hands that suddenly forgot what they were doing. Seo-jun watched her back. He watched the stillness that moved through her shoulders like a wave going the wrong direction. "Seo-jun. I wasn't snooping. Your alarm was going off. Okay. Okay." His voice came out quieter than he meant it to. "That's what you're going to say." She turned around, and her face was not the face of someone who was confused or wrongly accused. Her face was the face of someone who had been waiting for a door to open that they were hoping would stay shut just a little longer. That was the moment he felt his heart actually move inside his chest. Not metaphorically. It physically shifted, like something had reached in and tilted it sideways. "How long?" he said. It wasn't a question. It came out flat and certain, like he already knew the answer would be long enough to hurt. Amara sat down on the chair near the window. She pulled her towel down from her hair and held it in her lap and looked at it like it contained instructions. 2 months, she said. The number landed on him like cold water. 2 months. He had cooked for her 2 months ago. He had surprised her with her favorite jollof rice because she had a hard week at work. He had lit candles. She had hugged him from behind while he stirred and said, "What did I do to deserve you?" 2 months ago. "Who is he?" Seo-jun said. "Someone I met. At the supermarket." He laughed. He did not mean to laugh, but a short, broken sound came out of him because of all the places. All the possible dramatic, cinematic places for a love story to begin and end. And it was the supermarket. Just like them. Just like the beginning of them. "At the supermarket," he repeated. "He was in line behind me. We started talking. He took my number. And you gave it to him." She didn't answer. Giving your number to someone is not an accident. They both knew that. "Is he rich?" Seo-jun asked, and he didn't know why he asked it. Something in him just needed the complete picture. Needed to understand the full shape of what had happened to his life while he was busy living it. Amara's silence was its own answer. "He drives a G-Wagon," she said finally, quietly, like saying it quietly made it smaller. Seo-jun nodded slowly. He looked around their apartment. Their small, clean apartment with the second-hand couch they had painted the wall behind to match, because they couldn't afford a new one but they could afford paint. The apartment where he had held her through 2 pregnancy scares and 1 real loss. The apartment where she had stayed up until 2 a.m. helping him study for his licensing exam, quizzing him over and over, her voice getting slower and sleepier but never stopping. A G-Wagon. If you're new here, subscribe and hit that bell so you never miss a story like this one. They hit different when you watch from the beginning. Amara. His voice cracked on her name and he hated it. We were supposed to get married. I know. I have the ring. He said it before he could stop himself. I've had it for 6 months. It's in the box inside my winter coat in the closet. She closed her eyes. In my coat pocket, he said again, because some part of him needed her to understand the specific size of this. Not just that he loved her, but that he had been walking toward her this whole time. That every day he had woken up, he had been walking in the direction of forever with her.
Seo-jun, I'm sorry.
Don't. The word came out sharp. Do not apologize like I dropped your coffee. I don't know what you want me to say. I want you to tell me why. He stood up now, because he couldn't sit still anymore. Not because of the car. Not because of money. Tell me the real thing. Tell me what I did or didn't do or what was missing. Because I have been here. Every single day. I have been here. Amara looked up at him, and her eyes were wet now, and even now, even in this moment, something in him wanted to go to her. That was the cruelest part of loving someone deeply. Even when they were the source of the pain, your instincts didn't get the update immediately. You didn't do anything wrong, she said. Then why? Because. She stopped. Started again. Because he makes me feel like the world is bigger than this apartment. Because when I'm with him, I feel like I could be someone different. Someone more. The words went into him quietly and then detonated. Someone more, he repeated. That's not what I meant. No, say it. You meant it. Say it the way you meant it. She stood up. I meant that I got scared, okay? I looked at our future and I saw exactly what it was going to be. Good. Steady. Safe. And I got scared that safe was all it would ever be. Safe. He turned away from her. He walked to the window. Outside, the street was doing its regular things, cars and people, and the sound of someone's music from 3 floors up. Nobody out there knew that Seo-jun's life was being quietly demolished in a second-floor apartment. I loved you safely, he said to the window. I'm sorry that was the wrong way. Drop a comment right now and tell us where you're watching from. And if this story is already pulling at you, give it a like because it helps more than you know. He turned back around and looked at her. Really looked. He had memorized her face across 3 years. The small scar above her left eyebrow from a fall she took as a child. The way she blinked 3 times fast when she was nervous. The particular angle of her chin when she had already made up her mind about something. Her chin was at that angle now. You've already decided, he said. She didn't say yes. She just didn't say no. Seo-jun walked to the closet. He reached into the pocket of his black winter coat and pulled out the small velvet box. He had chosen it 8 months ago. He had looked at 47 different rings across 11 different stores before he found this one. He had known it was right the moment the jeweler placed it in his hand because it looked like something Amara would have pointed to herself. He held it for a moment. He thought about putting it back. He thought about throwing it. He thought about a lot of things that he didn't do. Instead he set it down on the dresser beside her lotion. I want you to have it, he said. Seo-jun, I can't take that. It was always yours. I bought it for you. It doesn't stop being yours because you chose something else. He paused. Somebody else. She looked at the box and her face broke a little. Not all the way. Just enough for him to see that somewhere inside her the decision had cost her something too. That did not fix anything. But it did something small and complicated to his anger. Softened the edges of it just slightly into something heavier and sadder. I'm going to go stay with my brother, he said. You don't have to leave. This is your apartment too. I know. I want to. He pulled out a bag from the closet and began placing things inside with the careful, quiet movements of someone trying not to make a scene in their own life. Clothes. His phone charger. The book on his nightstand. The small framed photo of his mother he kept on the dresser. Amara stood in the center of the room and watched him, and she didn't speak, and the silence between them was enormous. It was the size of everything they had built together and were now standing in the wreckage of. At the door he stopped. He didn't plan to stop. His hand was on the door and his bag was on his shoulder and he was supposed to just walk out. That was the clean thing. That was the dignified thing. But 3 years doesn't walk out of a door in one smooth motion. Do you remember, he said without turning around, that time the power went out for 2 days in January and we were freezing and we had no candles left and you found that one birthday candle at the back of the drawer? She made a small sound behind him. We sat on the floor with that one birthday candle and you made me tell you every good thing that had happened to me that year. You made me name them all. You said you needed to hear that good things were still real. He finally turned to look at her one last time. That was the night I knew. That I wanted to do every hard and cold and dark night with you. That I'd rather be in the dark with you than comfortable anywhere else. Amara's hand came up to her mouth. I hope he's worth it, Seo-jun said. Not with anger. With something much worse than anger. With sincerity. Then he opened the door and he walked out, and he pulled it shut behind him gently, the way you close a door in a house where someone is sleeping. Careful. Quiet. Like you're still trying to protect something, even as you leave it behind. He sat in his car for 11 minutes before he started it. He knew it was 11 because he watched the clock on the dashboard. He needed something concrete to look at. Something that moved in a direction he could track. Because everything else felt like it was moving in every direction at once. His phone buzzed. His brother, Seo-jun, calling to confirm dinner plans they had made last week. Seo-jun stared at his brother's name on the screen for a moment. Then he answered and said, Hey, can I stay with you for a while? A beat of silence. Then Seo-jun said without hesitation, without a single question, I'll make the couch up right now. Come straight here. That was the moment the feeling finally arrived fully. The one he had been holding back through the whole conversation, through the packing, through the door, through the 11 minutes of staring at the clock. It arrived in the car, alone, with his brother's voice in his ear saying come home. He pressed his forehead to the steering wheel and breathed. Outside, the city continued its normal operations, as cities do, completely unbothered by the fact that a man was sitting in a parked car learning the specific weight of a future that had just disappeared. He had been so sure of her. Not in an arrogant way. In the way that you are sure of the sun coming up. The kind of certainty that doesn't announce itself because it doesn't feel like it needs to. She was his person. He had known it in a grocery store aisle with a mango and 40 minutes of conversation, and he had never once stopped knowing it. Until tonight, when he learned that certainty, like most things, only works if both people are holding it. He lifted his head, wiped his face with the back of his hand, started the car. He drove to his brother's apartment with the radio off, the windows down, the cold air doing something necessary on his skin. And as he drove, he made no plans. He had no wisdom. He was not already healing. He was just a man driving through a city at night, carrying the full and undiluted weight of loving someone who had stopped carrying it back. And that, with no clean ending and no resolution and no lesson yet available, was simply where he was. If this story moved you, like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe because we have more stories that will sit with you long after they're over. And tell us in the comments, where in the world are you watching from tonight?